I had been talking with so many people this week because of my government positions. I had just visited a woman this morning to drop off some food for a Meals on Wheels, which is like a senior food program. And the door was answered by her son, and he was like, "Oh, you heard my mom?" Or hold on, just yelled for his mom. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. His mom comes down the stairs on her own, and she's got like stuff hooked up to her, and she can barely walk. And she's like, "I'm not okay, but I'm glad y'all are here to visit." And I'm like, "Oh my God, the son was literally just right here. He couldn't have helped his mom or anything." And she gave us a whole spiel for 15 minutes about how she's here, her husband passed away, she's got a whole place, whole house that she has to sell off, and she has 2 weeks to sell it before she can't pay the mortgage. And if not, she's end up living on the street. And I hear that so often because I work with so many unhoused people and just so many like resources in the Bay Area. It's such a common story for a woman in her 70s to have to go through that once something traumatic happens in her life. And the big thing that you mentioned is that Western culture and like America as a whole and a lot of Europe is very much focused on the individual and the singular person. Like if that was honestly that situation happened in my house, when that door closed, my mom's gonna beat me up. I know that for sure. She's like, "Oh, you can help me down the stairs? Why not, man? You're my son. What do you think you're here for? You know?" But in that house, that was the expectation because it was, unfortunately, it was like a white American family, and that's just what the standard is. That's the culture. And I know, like way how I mentioned earlier, but it's like that's how they were raised. That's the norm for them. And like Jamie mentioned it with the families he was talking to, right? Like to us, that's insane, but to them, that's just another day. And so, taking a look at it, I was talking to Wayhow earlier, actually. Just the way America is very much individualistic. You have autonomy as an individual person, do whatever you want, be whoever you want, right? I've got family members that are like gay, lesbian, transgender, and they can be that. That is completely okay. But you go to like Asia, you do that, your family disowns you immediately. You're on the street, you're no longer part of the family. And there's the goods and bads to it. Like if you go to Asia or you have your family unit, that no one is going to go unhoused unless they do something absolutely heinous, right? But everyone there is going to support each other to the very end. And so you have a kid, that kid's be raised by the family in the household, by the neighborhood. The village is going to raise your kid for you and to support you every step of the way. But that's how it is in Asia and everywhere else in the world that isn't like westernized. We serve as a collective, we serve to help our community, our people. And I forgot to mention it, but someone said like it's that monoculture in other countries where we all believe the same thing. That's the way we're raised. That's the way it's going to happen. But here in America, it's like there's so many different cultures that even after all this time of 250 years, they have not been able to connect the dots and make these different cultures merge together. But there's such a huge opportunity too. And during COVID, for example, when there was a bunch of disaster response and groups trying to go and figure out what to do next, I had a bunch of different communities that were like Black and then Asian working together to go and help each other out. And man, I have not seen a group of Black people trying to understand like what was it Chinese. They were pulling out translation apps trying to understand to help each other out, and they go and give them bags of food. And I was like, you know what? It takes a singular mission, in some cases, maybe even a disaster, to have people want to work together to unite. Because if we go back, like 20,000 years ago, humanity was just living in villages of groups of like 100, 150 people to help each other out. Everyone had a role. Everyone was doing whatever they could to make sure each person succeeded and no one was left behind. And that's how it was. And now that we're at the stage where we are now, everyone kind of has to figure out their own thing, especially like in America. We're left to our own devices. And that can lead to so much good, but also so much bad at the same time if there's no support. And I'm seeing as we go more and more every single day that more of the in-person groups that are coming together are just the people that are in need the most. The families that are missing loved ones that are sick, seniors coming together just because they're looking for someone to end the loneliness, right? And I think the biggest thing that we can see in the future is just more opportunities for connection and just possibilities for ways to end the gaps between us, right? And really, at the end of the day, if you're like a leader, your job is to understand those issues and just end those gaps. Because I've seen the best leaders are able to bring together groups from different countries, different backgrounds, and use maybe humor, use like cultural differences, use different ideas to be like, look, at the end of the day, y'all are the same. I've seen some people who are like, oh, we have this Mexican group over here and this Filipino group over here. And if you look, oh, you use the same words over there and there. Oh, you raised your kids the same way. And then after 5 minutes, everyone's laughing and everyone is on the same page because, you know what? I understand you. I know who you are. You're just like my family now. And all those differences are set aside because there's a mutual understanding. And I guess it's up to the leaders, us here to kind of figure out whether it's going to be a disaster that brings us together, common ground that brings us together, or maybe some good charisma like you, Parth, to make that happen. So that's my input, taking a low note of everyone's comments here today.